Moving now to the race to the White House. Ted Cruz claimed a resounding victory in North Dakota late Sunday after the state's GOP finalized its list of delegates to send to the Republican
Got a key race alert. We are not
Convention.
able to make any projections right now, but here are the results based on the CNN exit poll information. Remember, this is an estimate. According to our exit poll results, Ted Cruz has the lead, a significant lead, 47%. Donald Trump at 36%. John Kasich, 14%. Remember, this is the result of our exit polling. Questions that we asked as voters were going in. Let's take a look at the Democratic side right now. Here are the results of the exit polls. A significant lead for Bernie Sanders. Remember, this is an estimate. 55% for Bernie Sanders, 44% for Hillary Clinton. And CNN projects Ted Cruz will win the Republican presidential primary in Wisconsin tonight. Ted Cruz, a huge win for him in Wisconsin, setting the stage, potentially increasing the prospect potentially for an open or contested convention. CNN projects that Bernie Sanders will win the Wisconsin Democratic presidential primary, beating Hillary Clinton. A big, big win for Bernie Sanders. He won 5 of the last 6 states, now another state. He's got a lot of momentum going forward right now. A big win for Bernie Sanders.
With our victory tonight in Wisconsin, we have now won 7 out of 8 of the last caucuses and primaries.
God bless the great state of Wisconsin.
So, in the name of free speech,
to say thanks for the endorsement, Bill. Took you long enough.
Oh, snap!
Sorry, Hillary. I was running on CP time.
That's not, I don't like jokes like that, Bill. That's not funny.
Cautious politician time.
Breaking news, CNN can now project that Bernie Sanders has won the Wyoming Democratic caucuses.
Turn to the race for the White House now, and on the Republican side, Ted Cruz gaining ground on Donald Trump. This weekend, he swept all the delegates in Colorado, declared he'll defeat Trump at a contested convention, and all eyes now turn to the next contest here in New York.
Late last night, Ted Cruz won Colorado by clinching 21 of the state's 37 delegates. This afternoon, he'll address the statewide Republican Assembly in Colorado Springs, where 13 additional delegates will be chosen.
2016 GOP candidate, former New York Governor George Pataki, is here to make his 2016 endorsement. Governor, welcome, and tell me, who will you be endorsing, or who are you endorsing?
Hi, Greta. It's a wild night here in New York, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the night. I thought about it long and hard, and I've decided I'm going to endorse Governor John Kasich for president. 2 things. First of all, the Republicans have to win. I do not believe Hillary Clinton is fit to be president of the United States. John Kasich is the candidate who doesn't just beat Hillary Clinton, he trounces her, and will help us to regain Washington.
We're live at the Dugal Greenhouse at the Brooklyn Navy Yard in Brooklyn, New York. Let's welcome the candidates. Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Ladies and gentlemen, the Democratic candidates.
I question a judgment which voted for the war in Iraq, the worst foreign policy blunder in the history of this country, voted for virtually every disastrous trade agreement.
President Obama trusted my judgment enough to ask me to be Secretary of State for the United States.
Let's talk about super PACs and
President Obama had a super PAC when he ran. President Obama took tens of millions of dollars from contributors. And President Obama was not at all influenced.
And the proper response, in my view, is we should break them up. And that's what my legislation does.
Well, you can tell, Dana, he cannot come up with any example because there is no example. That's not enough. We've got to include the shadow banking
Senator
sector.
Sanders.
Secretary Clinton called them out. Oh, my goodness. They must have been really crushed by this.
And I've said, if everybody agrees to do it, because there are speeches for money on the other side, I know that. But I will tell you this, there is a long-standing expectation that everybody running release their tax returns.
Everybody else does it, she'll do it, I will do it. I am going to release all of the transcripts of the speeches that I gave on Wall Street behind closed doors. Not for $225,000, not for $2,000, not for 2 cents. Jane does our taxes. We've been a little bit busy lately. You'll excuse us. But we will, Senator, we will get them out.
Go as quickly as possible to get to 15.
I am sure a lot of people are very surprised to learn that you supported raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour.
Wait a minute.
That's just not accurate.
You've said that Vermont, Senator Sanders' home state, has, quote, the highest per capita number of guns that end up committing crimes in New York. But only 1.2% of the guns recovered in New York in 2014 were from Vermont. Are you seriously blaming Vermont and implicitly Senator Sanders for New York's gun violence?
No, of course not.
You recently said you do not think crime victims should be able to sue gun makers for damages. The daughter of the Sandy Hook Elementary School principal who was killed back in the 2012 mass shooting says you owe her and the other victims' families an apology. Do you?
If a gun shop owner sells a weapon legally to somebody, and that person then goes out and kills somebody, I don't believe it is appropriate that that gun shop owner who just sold a legal weapon to be held accountable and be sued.
Do you regret your advocacy for the crime bill?
Well, look, I supported the crime bill. My husband has apologized. He was the president who actually signed it. Senator Sanders voted for it. I'm sorry for the consequences that were unintended.
You called out President Clinton for defending Secretary Clinton's use of the term super predator back in the 90s when she supported the crime bill. Why did you call him out?
Because it was a racist term and everybody knew it was a racist term. When you were Secretary of State, you also worked hard to expand fracking to countries all over the world. Are you in favor of a tax on carbon so that we can transit away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy at the level and speed we need to do?
You know, I have laid out a set of actions that build on what President Obama was able to accomplish. I don't take a back seat to your legislation that you've introduced that you haven't been able to get passed.
But this is what you do. What you do, what the New York Times told us, it was Secretary Clinton who led the effort for that regime change. And this is the same type of mentality that supported the war in Iraq.
Senator Sanders voted for that. And that's exactly what we did.
No.
We went to the United Nations. Yes, he did. We went to the United Nations Security Council.
Secretary Clinton made this charge in previous debates, and just repeating it doesn't make it true.
Look at where we are in Syria today. And yes, I do still support a no-fly zone.
You said, quote, "It is not the time to continue wasting tens of billions of dollars helping to defend Europe, let alone assuming more than our share of any costs associated with expanding NATO." Do you still feel that way?
Well, what I believe, if my memory is correct here, we spend about 75% of the entire cost of the military aspect of NATO. Given the fact that France has a very good health care system and free public education, college education for their people, the UK has a good national health service, and they also provide fairly reasonable higher education. You know what? Yeah, I do believe that the countries of Europe should pick up more of the burden for their defense. Yes, I do.
So I don't know how you run a country when you are under constant threat, terrorist attack, rockets coming at you. You have a right to defend yourself. If Yasser Arafat had agreed with my husband at Camp David in the late 1990s to the offer that Prime Minister Barack put on the table, we would have had a Palestinian state
Senator,
for 15 years already.
I read Secretary Clinton's speech before AIPAC. I heard virtually no discussion at all about the needs of the Palestinian people. Almost none in that speech. We are going to have to say that Netanyahu is not right all of the time. I live 50 miles away from Canada, you know? It's not some kind of communist authoritarian country. They're doing okay. They got a health care system that guarantees health care to all people. Interesting comment, but you didn't answer the question.
I did, if that's
no,
the
you
way
didn't.
Yes, I did.
You are now coming out finally in favor of lifting the cap on taxable income and extending and expanding Social Security. If that is the case, welcome on board. I'm glad you're here. Yes or no?
I have said, yes, we are going to pick the best way or combination.
If elected president, I would ask the president to withdraw that nomination because I think that we need a Supreme Court justice who will make it crystal clear, and this nominee has not yet done that, crystal clear that he or she will vote to overturn Citizens United. Both in the CNN poll, I was 20 points ahead of Trump. I think Secretary Clinton was 12 points. And you know why? Because, in fact, a whole lot of people, this may be a shock to the Secretary, but there are a whole lot of independents in this country.
Do you vow to take this fight to Philadelphia, no matter what?
I think we're going to win this nomination, to tell you the truth. And with your help, we're going to win here in New York. Thank you.
Thank you. Secretary Clinton. I want to thank the candidates for a really terrific debate. Thanks also to Dana Bash and Errol Lewis, as well as New York One, the Democratic National Committee, and everyone here at the Dougal Greenhouse.
The Cruz campaign picked up another small victory during the night. All 14 delegates selected at Wyoming's convention Saturday are Cruz supporters. Add that to the delegates already selected. Cruz walks away with 23.
What's something that you always carry with you? Hot sauce.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Are you getting information right now? Hot sauce. Hot sauce in my bag, Swag?
Hot sauce.
Really?
Yes.
Now, listen, I just want you to know, people are going to see this and say, okay, she's pandering to black people.
Okay. Is it working?
And with the polls close, CNN projects that Donald Trump, the billionaire real estate magnate, will win the Republican presidential primary in his home state of New York. We don't know how much he will win by. We don't know the delegate count yet, but we do project that Donald Trump will be the winner in the Republican presidential primary. A huge win for Donald Trump. We also have a key race alert. On the Democratic side, we have not able to make a projection. These are exit poll results. Look at how tight it is. This is a CNN estimate on the Democratic presidential primary based on exit poll information. Hillary Clinton at 52%, Bernie Sanders at 48%. Very close, according to our CNN estimate, based on these exit polls. And take a look at this. Hillary Clinton is the winner of the New York State Democratic presidential primary based on the actual votes that have come in, based on the exit poll information that we have. CNN now projects the former Secretary of State, is the winner of the New York State Democratic presidential
When we began
primary.
this campaign, we were 60 points behind, and in the last couple of weeks, a few national polls have actually had
I'm
us
so
in the
excited
lead.
to share with you what America has learned over the past few months. And it has nothing to do with a politician winning his home state tonight.
Thank you, New York.
I have to say to the people that know me the best, the people of New York, when they give us this kind of a vote, and it's just incredible, and I guess we're close to 70%.
Happened again.
Help is on the way.
We're helpless to resist another Ted Cruz look-alike, only this one is a she.
And that hurts like hell.
It started with tweets like, I just saw Ted Cruz on Maury, that would be the Maury Povich show, where Circe Hayes claimed her fiancé is the father of her baby, not someone else.
How could he be the father?
You think they look alike?
Yes, Maury, look at that.
It seems like Cruz is always being compared to somebody, be it Grandpa Munster, or the Zodiac Killer, or Christian heavy metal rocker Michael Sweet in his youth. The results from the tests are in. Ted, you are not the nominee. As for Circe's fiancé,
Freddie, you are the father.
What do you have for me?
Mrs. Clinton, Madam Secretary, the plan is coming together. Donald Trump is paving the way for you to win the White House.
What's our next move?
Our Oppo file on Trump is ready to go. When our friends in the media release this stuff, he's toast.
Silencing dissenters with lawsuits, taking people's property, and a long list of failed businesses.
He plays fast and loose with the facts, and he's only concerned with himself.
He isn't trusted either. And he has the second highest disapproval ratings of anybody running for president.
Who has the highest?
Trump's comments on abortion have angered pro-lifers and the pro-choice crowd.
So he's a uniter on abortion.
He doesn't think things through, not with abortion and not with his taxes. Our friends at the IRS say his returns are full of bombshells. Now, he claims to be a billionaire, but takes tax credits for people that make less than $500,000 a year.
Trump wants to stabilize the Korean Peninsula by giving Japan and South Korea nuclear weapons.
Scary.
Our research shows that most people actually think he is scary.
And he wants to break apart NATO and the UN and turn our troops into rent-a-cops.
Where did he study foreign policy? Trump University?
The point is, if Trump becomes the Republican nominee, the White House is yours.
What do you mean, if?
Our latest polling indicates Americans want a president they can trust. Someone who isn't,
liar?
Someone who respects the Constitution and the rights it protects.
Someone who has a proven track record taking on the Washington establishment.
America wants a real leader.
All right, get to the point. Who are we talking about here? How do we stop Ted Cruz? How do we stop Ted Cruz?
I don't think we can.
National Constitution Center in Philadelphia. Here now is Chris Hayes.
The corporate media very much determines the kind of conversation we have. Your particular station is owned by whom?
Comcast, NBC Universal.
There we go. One of the more popular corporations in America.
What is your answer to that question? What is the piece of legislation in the 40 years you've done this where you think to yourself, I got that one wrong?
Will be the California primary this year. Is that when you, if you're ahead in the vote, if you're ahead in pledged delegates?
I am ahead in the vote, Rachel. I am way ahead in the vote.
On June 7th.
No, wait a minute.
I want to introduce you now to...
You're in family detention.
What did you say?
The lives of the women that are in Berks right now.
This is outside of our format, but let me just rephrase the question for you. Let me tell me if I get it right. Asking about women and families in family detention, immigration detention
yes,
facilities.
I'm against that. Absolutely, I'm against that.
In Philadelphia, I want to thank our great audience at the National Constitution Center. Here in Philadelphia, it's been a great night. Good night.
And the GOP nomination for president goes to John Kasich. What a long, fascinating trip it's been. How'd it go from the final three to the one the establishment didn't think could win? Well, running for president isn't about the establishment. It's about the delegates, and the delegates decided this election was about winning the presidency. And only John Kasich could beat Hillary Clinton. In the final hours, it came down to 1,237 brave Americans. Delegates, you, who overcame tremendous personal pressure. They nominated the only candidate who could win the only election that mattered. The candidate who was presidential. John Kasich.
New Day Independent Media Committee, Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Trump did seem to be showing more restraint.
Now you look at Kasich, I don't think he knows what, did you see him? He has a news conference all the time when he's eating. I have never seen a human being eat in such a disgusting fashion. I'm always telling my young son, Barron, I'm saying, and I always with my kids, all of them, I'd say, children, small little bites, small. This guy takes a pancake and he's shoving it in his mouth.
This is good advice. Small bites. I don't know what Trump is talking about. Wow. Yeah. That's a great song. Handy wipes. Yeah, he used the napkin after. That was good.
Polls are close. CNN projects Donald Trump will win the Pennsylvania Republican presidential primary. A big win for Donald Trump tonight. CNN also projects that Donald Trump is the winner in Maryland. He wins the Republican presidential primary in Maryland. CNN also projects another win for Donald Trump in Connecticut. He will win the Republican presidential primary. On the Democratic side, we have a projection as well. CNN projects Hillary Clinton is the winner in Maryland. She wins the Maryland Democratic presidential primary. Right now, we have some key race alerts at the same time. Take a look at this. In Pennsylvania and Connecticut, we have exit polls, but we cannot make projections. Too early to call on the Democratic side between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders in Pennsylvania, as well as in Connecticut. We didn't do exit polls in two other states on the Democratic side, Delaware and Rhode Island. Too early to call in both of those states as well. Similarly, on the Republican side, too early to call in two states. We didn't do exit polls in Delaware and Rhode Island. Take a look at Connecticut right now. 3% of the vote is in. Still very early. Hillary Clinton has a lead of 52.8% to Bernie Sanders 45.4%. Very early. Similarly, in Connecticut, very early, only 2%, if that, and the vote is in. In Rhode Island, 53.8% for Bernie Sanders, 44.9% for Hillary Clinton. Advantage for Bernie Sanders, at least so far, very early in Rhode Island. On the Republican side, let's take a look at the Republican side. In Connecticut right now, we projected Donald Trump as the winner. You can see it's still very early in the actual vote that has been tabulated. 59.3% for Trump, 27.2% for Kasich, only 11.4% for Cruz. Very early, but Trump we projected as the winner. We have not projected a winner in Rhode Island on the Republican side. We didn't do any exit polls in Rhode Island, but Trump, with 4% of the vote is in, he has 64%. Kasich in second place with 22.9%. Ted Cruz, 11.8% in Rhode Island. We have another major projection right now. A fourth win for Donald Trump. CNN projects Donald Trump is the winner of the Rhode Island Republican presidential primary. His fourth win of the night. Donald Trump wins in Rhode Island. His fourth win statewide. A clean sweep for Donald Trump tonight. Donald Trump, CNN projects, is the winner of the Delaware Republican presidential primary. All 5 contests, Donald Trump wins. He wins in Connecticut, Delaware, and let's go through the list. Pennsylvania, Maryland, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Delaware. A clean sweep, winning all of them A big, big deal for Donald Trump. Impressive wins in all 5 of these mid-Atlantic northeastern states. Hillary Clinton, we have projected as the winner in Maryland so far. 4 more Democratic contests. CNN projects Hillary Clinton is the winner in the Delaware Democratic presidential primary. That's her second projected win of the night. Earlier, we projected she is the winner in Maryland. Here's a key race alert of what's going on in Pennsylvania right now on the Democratic side. Hillary Clinton with 52.5%, 46.5% for Bernie Sanders. But once again, very early, less than 1% of the vote is in Pennsylvania. We're watching that state closely. In Rhode Island on the Democratic side, 4% of the vote is in. Bernie Sanders maintains a slight lead. Actually, it's a nice lead, but it's still very early, 56.6%, 42.2% for Hillary Clinton. We'll see if that stands in Rhode Island. In Connecticut, it's very, very close. Significant number of votes already in, 14%. Look at how close it is. Bernie Sanders, 49.2%. Hillary Clinton, 49%. Only now 161 votes ahead. Bernie Sanders is ahead by 49.2% to 49%. 15% of the vote is in. In Delaware, CNN has projected Hillary Clinton is the winner. 38% of the vote is now in. She's at 51.8%. Bernie Sanders, 47.1%. That's in Delaware right now. On the Republican side, we've already projected all 5 contests. Donald Trump wins, but we'll show you the numbers as they come in. Very early in Pennsylvania, 69.4% for Trump. Ted Cruz, 15.1%. Kasich, 12.8%. Donald Trump, the winner in Pennsylvania. Similarly, in Rhode Island, 10% of the vote is in. A very impressive lead for Donald Trump, 62% to 25.7% for Kasich, 11% for Ted Cruz in third place. 10% of the vote is in Rhode Island. In Connecticut, Trump is the winner. 20% of the vote is in. A very impressive lead so far, 59.5%. Kasich, 26%. Ted Cruz, only 11.8%. 21% of the vote in Connecticut is now in. Very impressive. When in Delaware, CNN has projected that Donald Trump is the winner in Delaware, 61.3%. John Kasich, 20%. Ted Cruz, 15.7%. Another big win for Hillary Clinton, the biggest prize of the night on the Democratic side. Hillary Clinton is the winner in the Pennsylvania Democratic presidential primary. This is her 3rd win so far tonight. Earlier, we projected wins in Delaware and in Maryland. Let's go to Jeff Zeleny. We do have a projection, a win for Bernie Sanders. CNN projects Bernie Sanders is the winner of the Rhode Island Democratic presidential primary. That's his first win of the night. So far, Hillary Clinton has won 3 states. Bernie Sanders wins in Rhode Island. Another major projection right now, the final projection of the night. Take a look at this. Hillary Clinton is the winner of the Connecticut Democratic presidential primary. Her 4th win of the night. Hillary Clinton wins in Connecticut. Let's take a look at all the states won so far tonight. 10 presidential primary contests. On the Republican side, Donald Trump had a clean sweep. He won in Pennsylvania, Maryland, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Delaware. 5 for 5 tonight for Donald Trump. On the Democratic side, 4 for 5 for Hillary Clinton. She wins in Pennsylvania, Maryland, Connecticut, and Delaware. Bernie Sanders, he captures the state
of Rhode Island. And when we began this campaign, we were about 3% in the national polls. We were about 60 points behind Secretary.
Let me tell you what I'm going to do as president. We're going to stop amnesty, secure the borders, end sanctuary cities, and end welfare benefits for those here illegally.
Pennsylvania and across Maryland and Delaware, Connecticut, Rhode Island. I am so grateful to all our volunteers, our organizers.
I want to thank the media. The media has really covered me very fair for the last 2 hours.
That if I am nominated to be President of the United States, that I will run on a ticket with my vice presidential nominee, Carly Fiorina.
That I have accepted Senator Ted Cruz's offer to be his vice president for the Republican nomination. Ted and Heidi and Caroline and Catherine, I know 2 girls that I just adore. I'm so happy I can see.
Why are you so afraid of Fox News anchor Megyn Kelly?
First off, I have great relationships with all the Fox people. I love Sean, I love Bill, I love them all. I think we have a great relationship. And Megyn and I have to say, this has been it's misreported in the news. Megyn and I have a great incredible relationship. Megyn and I are friends 3 weeks out of the month, I can tell you that. We're friends 3 weeks out of the month. And what I mean by that, I want to say we have a very spotty relationship. That's all I'm saying. We have a very spotty relationship. In other words, our relationship ebbs and flows. It ebbs and flows, really. And what I mean by that is when the uterine lining drops out of her cervix, she can be a real That's all I'm saying.
Mr. Trump, I will have you know that word is a Class 1 felony in the state of Vermont.
Lock me up, baby. Lock me up.
We thought, after seeing Donald Trump on television, we thought if you wore the goggles, the swim goggles, and you stuck your face in Cheetos, crushed Cheetos, that you would look just like Donald Trump in the end.
I believe it was Ben Shapiro who made this observation. And, you know, it does look like that Donald Trump dips his face in Cheetos dust before.
Or he could pick it up and slather it on. That's what I intend to do.
No. You gotta. I think it's.
All right, go ahead. Dip
I think it's a.
No, wait, what flavor do you have?
I have regular.
You have regular. The puffs or the cart?
What?
Do you have the puffs or do you have the?
No, these are
crunchy, original flavor.
Yeah, this is original flavor, and they've been crushed. So.
You're not going to get very good coverage that way.
I think you are.
I don't.
Now,
pretty good.
Do I look like Donald Trump?
Welcome to Negro Night here at. Speaking of drones, how is Wolf Blitzer still on television? Ask a follow-up question. Good. Hey, Wolf, I'm ready to project tonight's winner. Anyone that isn't watching The Situation Room. Not to be confused with future first gentleman Bill Clinton, whose 3 favorite strippers are named Grace Class employees. Yeah, don't make that mistake. Don't make that mistake. Remember that? Who are you killing tonight? Can't be print journalism. That industry's been dead for a while now, right? Sorry. I've been watching CNN a long time. Yep. Used to watch it back when it was a news network. I did. Hey, Don, how's it going? Alleged journalist Don Lemon, everybody. He praised Jackson, saying he was a tremendous president. From the grave, Andrew Jackson replied, "What did that jigaboo say?" Lost David Bowie, Merle Haggard, Prince, or as Hillary Clinton calls it, my favorite singer, my favorite singer, my favorite singer. Bernie's been hanging around with rapper Killer Mike, or as Hillary Clinton calls him, Super Predator Mike. You know? Donald Trump says he's going to try and be more presidential. It's true. He's serious about it, too. So he says that now, when he boasts about his genitalia during a debate, he's only going to refer to it as his President Johnson. You know, there's a joke going around the internet that Ted Cruz is actually the Zodiac Killer. Right? I'm not making that up, you know? Come on, that's absurd. You know, some people actually liked the Zodiac Killer. So, Mr. President, if I'm going to keep it 100, yo, Barry, you did it, my nigga. Did it. Thank you very much. Good night.
So now, help me welcome your next first family, Heidi Cruz, your next first lady, Carolyn and Catherine, and the next president of the United States, Ted Cruz.
She fell off the stage the other day. Did anybody see that? And Cruz didn't do anything. Even I would have helped her, okay? They just showed it to me, and I said, wow, that's really cruel. She fell off. She just went down. She went down a long way, right? And she went down right in front of him, and he was talking. He kept talking. He didn't even look like...
This
that was
man
a weird
is a
deal.
pathological liar. Ted Cruz erupts after Donald Trump links Cruz's father to none other than JFK assassin Lee Harvey Oswald. Trump made the explosive allegations in a live phone call on Fox and Friends, basing them on a report in last week's National Enquirer. Ted Cruz's father linked to JFK assassination. The tabloid, which is supporting Trump for president, claims this man is Ted Cruz's father, Raphael, handing out leaflets with Oswald in August 1963, 3 months before President Kennedy was assassinated.
What was he doing with Lee Harvey Oswald shortly before the death, before the shooting? It's horrible.
Donald's source for this is the National Enquirer. The National Enquirer is tabloid trash.
We've never really heard words this strong coming from Ted Cruz against his rival, biting, scathing critique of Donald Trump.
Ted Cruz's father fled Cuba penniless in the 1950s and is today a leading evangelical preacher. Historian Thomas Whalen, an expert on the Kennedy assassination, has studied the image.
No one has ever identified this person, his identity. And I think now to say that it's Ted Cruz's father is something of a stretch.
Yes, my dad killed JFK. He is secretly Elvis, and Jimmy Hoffa.
Go to Wolf Blitzer right now. He has a key race alert.
Thank you. This is the first key race alert of the night so far. The polls in the Eastern time zone in Indiana, they are closed very, very early. Initial numbers right now, see only less than 1% of the vote is actually in. Donald Trump with 61.4%, 23% for Ted Cruz, 11% for John Kasich. But once again, maybe a couple thousand, if that, votes have been counted so far. On the Democratic side, also very early, Hillary Clinton with 63.8%, 36.2% for Bernie Sanders, but only, 900 or so votes have been tallied so far. Hillary Clinton, 228 votes ahead of Bernie Sanders. CNN projects that Donald Trump will win the Republican presidential primary in the state of Indiana. Another very, very big win for Donald Trump. This is a huge win. He was effectively going one-on-one with Ted Cruz. He manages to pull out a win in Indiana. This is something that Ted Cruz really needed, almost make or break for Ted Cruz. Donald Trump is the winner. Let's take a look at the actual votes that are coming in right now. We have a key race alert first. Too early to call on the Democratic side. Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, based on all the information, the actual votes that have been tallied, as well as the exit poll information, we are not able to make a projection on the Democratic side. Too early to call. But let's take a look at the actual votes right now. First, on the Republican side, we projected Donald Trump is the winner with 9% of the vote in. He's got a very solid lead, 54.2%, 32.8% for Ted Cruz. John Kasich, only 10%. He's up by more than 20,000 votes. But based on all the information we have projected Trump is the winner.
Wolf Blitzer has a key race alert, Mr. Blitzer.
All right, thank you. We certainly do. Let's take a look in Indiana, the Republican side. On the Democratic side, we have not yet made a projection. 12% of the vote is in. Look at how close it is. 51.7% for Hillary Clinton, 48.3% for Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is the winner of the Democratic presidential primary in Indiana. CNN now projects he beats Hillary Clinton, wins the Indiana Democratic primary. We've been looking at the hard numbers coming in. Based on all the information we have right now, he is ahead. Bernie Sanders is the winner of the Democratic presidential.
We are suspending our campaign.
Now, it is a little bit nuts to my mind when the middle class of this country has to subsidize the employees of the wealthiest family.
Bobby Knight. Boy, Bobby Knight was incredible.
And as I suspend my campaign today,
Trump is this big, giant battering ram against the leftists in the mainstream media, in the alternative media, in the Democrat Party, the degree to which they are hypocritical and corrupt by allowing a monster like Hillary Clinton to be at the head of their flagship. That is like, seriously, people don't like, they don't know what is going to happen, but it is going to be an evisceration, the hypocrisy and contempt for any decent moral standards on the left, the hypocrisy of people attacking Donald Trump's character when, you know, this Medusa is slithering forward to try and grab the reins of power. I mean, it is going to smash the left for a decade or two.
Perry faced the Texas press to say he'd entertain being vice president with Donald Trump at the top of the ticket.
I will entertain helping my country.
I don't have any idea what that may entail. If Donald Trump says, Perry, let's talk about you helping in this role, I'm open to it. He's vanquished 16 pretty capable men and women. When the choice is Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton, that becomes abundantly easy for me to make that decision.
Phil Praisen.
In West Virginia, here's what we can give you right now, a key race alert. In West Virginia, Bernie Sanders is the early leader based on the exit poll information that we have. We are not able to project a winner right now, but we are able to say that Bernie Sanders in West Virginia is the early leader in the Democratic presidential primary. As fully expected, no surprise here. On the Republican side, we can project, obviously, that Donald Trump is the winner in West Virginia. He had no opposition in West Virginia. All of the other Republican candidates have dropped out, but he still needs to get to that 1,237 number. This will help him clearly tonight. Anderson, we got some key race alerts, the first ones of the night coming in. Take a look at this in West Virginia. Hillary Clinton has a slight lead. Only 2% of the vote is in. She's got 50.6% to Bernie Sanders, 41.3%. Once again, very, very early. Major projection right now. Bernie Sanders is the winner in the West Virginia Democratic presidential primary. Senator Sanders is the winner. The polls closed in West Virginia. Donald Trump is the winner in Nebraska as well. He's getting increasingly close to that number, that official number, 1,237 delegates that he needs to officially capture the Republican presidential
that it is
nomination.
high time for the wealthy and large corporations to start paying their fair share of taxes.
All the polls in Kentucky closed about 15 minutes ago. We are not able to make a projection. Too close right now. Let's get a key race alert. Take a look at this. 15% of the vote is in. Bernie Sanders has a lead, 47.4% to Hillary Clinton's 45.4%. He's up by almost 2,000. All right, you heard the news right here. The Secretary of State of Kentucky, she declared the unofficial winner in Kentucky. Hillary Clinton, she says Hillary Clinton has beaten Bernie Sanders for the Democratic presidential nomination in the state of Kentucky and Oregon. Let's get a key race alert. Right now, it's too early to call for us to make a projection in Oregon right now between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. But remember, this is a state where all the ballots are mail-in ballots, so they will be releasing a lot of those ballots very, very soon. All right, John, as expected, by the way, Donald Trump is the winner in Oregon. He's the presumptive Republican nominee. He is the winner in Oregon. Yes, other names were on the ballot over there, but Trump wins fully expected. He's the only Republican presidential candidate left standing right now, so he's the winner in Oregon. Anderson. Bernie Sanders, we project, is the winner of the Oregon Democratic presidential primary. Let's go back to the speech. Is the winner in Kentucky. Earlier, we heard directly from the Secretary of State, Allison Lundergan Grimes, saying she's the unofficial winner, but now, apparently, according to the Secretary of State's office in Kentucky, it's official.
In a closed primary, something I am not all that enthusiastic about, where independents are not allowed to vote.
He starts to bite on my top lip, and I try to pull away from him.
We have a fascinating situation going on right now where Donald Trump has surged to actually tie or surpass Hillary Clinton in hypothetical November polling, whereas Bernie Sanders seems to be consistently ahead of Trump. There are several new polls which show
Trump
this
has won.
now.
Take a look at this. He's won the Washington State Republican primary. Didn't have any opposition. He's got almost 80% of the vote. Ted Cruz, John Kasich, each about 10%. Their names were still on the ballot. Once again, no surprise. He's getting closer and closer to getting that official number, 1237. That's the number he needs to get the nomination. We have a key race alert right now. Donald Trump now has reached the number of delegates needed to clinch the Republican presidential nomination.
Donald Trump is winning over one of his most prominent skeptics.
Wow!
House Speaker Paul Ryan announcing in an op-ed that he will vote for Trump this fall, writing, "It's no secret that he and I have our differences," but adding, "The reality is, on the issues that make up our agenda, we have more common ground than disagreement."
Of the night so far, the first numbers very, very early coming in right now. Clearly, no projection in Puerto Rico, but take a look at Hillary Clinton. She has 473 votes so far. Bernie Sanders 201. Very early, she has 70.2% to his 29.8%. She's up by 272 votes. You can see see right there.
Hillary Clinton's win in Puerto Rico over the weekend puts her on the cusp of an
We have a key race
historic
in New
nomination.
Jersey right now, the Democratic presidential primary. Only about 1% of the vote is in. Hillary Clinton building up a lead, 57.6% to Bernie Sanders, 42.4%. Only, about 10,000 votes have been in. We're watching this state very carefully. No great surprise. Donald Trump has won the Republican presidential primary. He didn't have any other Republican opponents in this contest. Donald Trump, we projected as the winner, obviously, of the Republican presidential primary in New. Right now, CNN can project that Hillary Clinton will win the New Jersey Democratic presidential primary. This is the first of 6 contests tonight. Hillary Clinton wins New Jersey based on the numbers that have come in so far, the actual votes that have been tallied. Hillary Clinton will win New Jersey. This is the first contest of the night. Other contests, the polls have just closed in 3 other states. It's too early to call in New Mexico, North Dakota, and South Dakota. We'll wait for some actual numbers to come in, then we'll see where we can go from there. Right now, too early to call New Mexico, North Dakota, and South Dakota.
Key race alert from Will.
Anderson, thanks very much. We've already projected that Hillary Clinton has won the New Jersey Democratic presidential primary. Let's update you on 3 other states right now. In New Mexico, 30% of the vote is now in. Hillary Clinton has a lead, 53.2% to 46.8% for Bernie Sanders. Almost a third of the vote is in New Mexico. In South Dakota, Hillary Clinton also has a lead with about a quarter of the vote in, 23%. Hillary Clinton has 53.7% to Bernie Sanders, 46.3%. She's ahead in South Dakota as well. In North Dakota are caucuses. We only have percentages. Here's where Bernie Sanders is ahead. He's always done pretty well in these caucuses. 29% of that vote is in. 61.7% for Bernie Sanders, 29.6% for Hillary Clinton. Bernie Sanders ahead in North Dakota. We're standing by. Montana is going to be closing at the top of the hour. Donald Trump, no surprise. We project that he's the winner. He doesn't have any opposition in South Dakota and New Mexico. 2 more states for Donald Trump. Thanks very much. We have a projection right now. Bernie Sanders, we can now project, will win the North Dakota Democratic caucuses. Bernie Sanders is the winner in North Dakota. His first win of the night tonight. We earlier projected that Hillary Clinton is the winner in New Jersey in the Democratic presidential primary. All right, thanks very much, Anderson. We do have a projection right now. Hillary Clinton, we project, is the winner of the New Mexico Democratic presidential primary. This is her second win of the night. We projected much earlier that she is the winner in New Jersey. Let's take a look at some other states right now. She's having a very good night. A key race alert. We've got Hillary Clinton is ahead right now in 2 important states. Let's put them up on the board right there. She's ahead. There it is in Montana. 25% of the vote is in. She's got 50.7% to Bernie Sanders, 44.2%. In South Dakota, Hillary Clinton is ahead with 85% of the vote in, 51.3%. Bernie Sanders, 48.7%. I should point out, by the way, that Donald Trump, with no opposition, is the winner in Montana. He wins the Republican presidential primary, Montana Republican presidential primary. Thanks, Anderson. We got a key race alert right now. Let's take a look at the biggest prize of the night, California. Right now, the votes just beginning to come in, about 1%, if that, in so far. But Hillary Clinton has taken a very early lead, 61.6% to Bernie Sanders, 37.5%. Very, very early in California. 475 delegates are at stake in California. She takes an early lead. Let's update you on 2 other states right now. Montana right now, the Democratic presidential primary. 32% of the vote is in. Hillary Clinton maintaining a slight lead over Bernie Sanders in Montana. 48.6% to 46.7%. About a third of the vote in Montana is in. 21 delegates at stake. In South Dakota, a lot more of the vote is in. 92% of the vote is in. Hillary Clinton has a lead there, 51.5% to 48.5% over Bernie Sanders. 20 delegates at stake in South Dakota. 97% of the vote is in South Dakota. If Hillary goes on to win South Dakota, that'll be an important win for her. A lot of people thought that Bernie Sanders could do very well in South Dakota. Donald Trump, by the way, no opposition. the only Republican candidate left standing. He wins another state. He's got all 5 states of the 5 contests tonight for the Republicans. He takes California. Let's recap right now. This has been a very good night so far for Hillary Clinton. 6 contests on the Democratic side. In New Jersey, she is the winner. In New Mexico, we've projected in New Jersey, she's the winner, 126 delegates at stake. In New Mexico, she's the winner with 34 delegates at stake. In New Mexico, 2 big wins for Hillary Clinton. North Dakota goes to Bernie Sanders. That's an important win in North Dakota for Bernie Sanders. 18 delegates at stake with the Democratic caucuses in North Dakota. We have a projection right now. Hillary Clinton is the winner in South Dakota. Hillary Clinton wins the South Dakota Democratic presidential primary. This is her 3rd win of the night. 3 important wins for Hillary Clinton so far. New Jersey, New Mexico, now South Dakota. New Jersey, New Mexico, South Dakota. Hillary wins those states. Bernie Sanders has won the caucuses in North Dakota. 1 win for him. 2 other states still outstanding. All right, that's Bernie Sanders. He is not conceding, not dropping out. We have projected that Bernie Sanders will win the Montana Democratic presidential primary. That's his 2nd win of the night. He also won North Dakota. Hillary Clinton had 3 big wins tonight as well. We're still waiting for California. That's the big prize.
Plus, they are still counting votes in California. The very light is 57% now in, and Hillary Clinton has expanded her lead by about 3,000 votes. Now 403,000 votes ahead. We are still counting there. A long way to go. Stay with us.
We have a projection for California, so stand by for just a second. These numbers are just coming in.
All right. CNN now projects that Hillary Clinton is the winner of the California Democratic primary. Again, this projection now just in at 5:19 Eastern time. That's what, 2:19 Pacific time there. You can look at the vote totals now. With 63% of the vote in, her lead is some 407,000 votes. That's enough right now for CNN to project that Hillary Clinton has won the California Democratic primary.
Breaking news, Hillary Clinton has 2,384 delegates. That's 1 more than she needs to clinch the Democratic nomination. But she and Bernie Sanders vow to fight for every last vote in the primaries that are now just hours away.
Standing under a glass ceiling right now.
This is not a testament to me, but a testament to all of the people who believed real change, not Obama change, but real change is possible.
And then we take our fight to Philadelphia.
O'Malley is with Hillary Clinton. The former governor of Maryland and Democratic presidential candidate announced his endorsement of America's first female nominee for president via Twitter. He said, "For the future of the country, I am committing my energies to the election of Secretary Clinton as the next president, ending with the hashtag I'm with her." O'Malley's endorsement of Hillary Clinton follows President Obama's. Clinton and Obama are set to campaign together next week.
3 hours of terror overnight, multiple shootouts, hostages, a packed nightclub under siege. Authorities say Omar Mateen arrived at Pulse Orlando, a gay nightclub and bar, armed with an AR-15 type assault rifle, a handgun, and an unknown number of rounds of ammunition.
It appears he was organized and well prepared.
By the time it was all over, at least 50 people dead, even more injured tonight. The first signs of trouble just after 2 a.m. Officers responding to gunfire at the club. At one point, Mateen goes outside where police exchange shots with the suspect. He runs back inside to open fire again.
All I was hearing the bang, bang, bang. Thought it was part of a song. There's blood splattering. I didn't know if it was mine or somebody else's.
Pulse nightclub posting on Facebook, "Everyone get out of Pulse and keep running."
It just started shooting, and that's when we knew something was wrong, when everybody just dropped to the ground, and then people started running.
Dozens who did not make it out, now hostages stuck inside, some huddled inside the bathroom, texting to loved ones. Mina Justice showing us these ominous messages. "Mommy, I love you," writes her son, trapped in bathroom.
"And please come get us out because he's about to kill us." So he said he was going to die and he loved me. That's the last thing I heard.
Authorities sending armored vehicles and SWAT teams to the scene, then deciding it is time to make their move.
We're
being told possibly up to 15 remaining in the club that are barricaded in.
Just after 5 a.m., SWAT officers breach a wall of the club, exchanging gunfire with the suspect again.
Look at that, just shooting back and forth.
From there, we exchanged gunfire with the suspect, and he was dead at that scene. We rescued about 30 people.
This image of the damaged helmet on an officer injured during the firefight. The aftermath, gruesome. Victims on the street, others carried away, their clothes soaked in blood. Worried relatives rushing to the club.
My son hasn't been heard from, so I don't know if he was left in the club, if he got shot, or if he's being worked on here. I don't know. It's terrible. He's my only child.
As day breaks, authorities combing through the massive crime scene.
The amount of bodies that are in there, amount of victims, it's going to take some
breaking
time.
News. NBC News can now project that the presumptive Democratic nominee, Hillary Clinton, has won the final primary contest of this election season, D.C. Democratic primary, tonight against Bernie Sanders. And moments ago, Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders arrived at the Washington Hilton to meet for their first meeting since she became the presumptive nominee.
We've now
for the
reached the
Democratic
point
Party.
in the evening where we don't need Birmingham to be sure of the direction of travel. So here at ITV News at just gone 4:30 in the morning, we are calling it for Leave to Win this referendum. An extraordinary moment in British history, a referendum that David Cameron didn't need to call, that he was certain to win. As it wore on the campaign, he got more and more worried that that was not a given, and the warnings became ever more apocalyptic about just how dangerous and difficult it was for us if we left. We have, as a nation, ignored him. So at 4:25 in the morning, 4:35 even, can't read a watch, can't do many things at this time in the morning, but at 4:35, we at ITV News are calling this as a Leave victory, an extraordinary moment in British history. Let's just take a moment. We looked at the White Cliffs of Dover just now. Let's just take a moment as we look at the clock to ponder what has been a long and tumultuous night and to consider what may lie ahead. We've seen Joel Hills giving us the reaction of the markets.
The sun has risen on an independent, united kingdom. Is that June the 23rd needs to become a national bank holiday, and we will call it Independence Day.
I'm Governor Gary Johnson.
I'm Governor Bill Weld.
I'm running for president.
I'm running with him.
As the governor of New Mexico, I vetoed wasteful spending 750 times, cut taxes 14 times, and left the state with new highways, bridges, schools, hospitals, and $1 billion surplus without raising taxes a penny.
As governor of Massachusetts, I cut taxes 21 times and took unemployment from the highest rate among the 11 industrialized states to the lowest.
And he did that in his first term. As a Republican, I was reelected by my Democrat state in a landslide.
Ditto.
I support marriage equality.
I support a woman's right to choose.
I want term limits.
Internet freedom is a must.
Intelligent immigration reform.
Small, efficient government that treats the American people like family instead of livestock.
I believe in personal freedom.
I want government out of your pocketbook and out of your bedroom.
It's time to end the wars and use those dollars here at home. The difference between the two of us and the other candidates running for president is that we've been there.
And done that.
We both balance budgets.
We've both battled corruption and won.
Give us one term, America, and if after 4 years you decide you don't like peace, prosperity, and freedom, you can always vote a Trump or a Hillary back into office.